JSA TV, your virtual newsroom for telecom professionals. Joining us here today, we are honored to have my friend, Miss Erin Dunne. She is the Director of Research over at Vertical Systems Group and also, I should say, a fellow Rhode Islander. Erin, welcome to JSA TV.
Thanks for having me.
So Vertical Systems Group always launching some great research. One in particular that definitely caught our attention. You guys just came up with some stats on our nation's fiber gap. So can you give us a little bit more details there?
Oh, I'd be happy to. It's really interesting research. The fiber gap is a really important metric to track. It refers to the quantification of fiber penetration into U.S. enterprises, meaning how many buildings have access to fiber-based network services. And so just a little background on that, we've been tracking this metric for about 10 years, and it came about when Ethernet services were coming on board. And these were very new services, and they started at about 10 meg. And then you had all these business enterprises that had access via copper to T1s and the like at about 1.5. They just couldn't access Ethernet services. The enterprise network managers wanted fiber, they wanted Ethernet services, and so we started tracking the fiber penetration statistics in relation to business Ethernet services. And fiber availability is really important for enabling business Ethernet migration from these legacy services like T1 and the old type of frame and ATM and private lines. So without a doubt, business Ethernet is the preferred network technology for network managers, for data center managers, for WAN managers across the world. They're using Ethernet to access higher speed services, including VPNs, including cloud offerings, and they want to do it over fiber because of the scalability and the multi-gigabit speeds, and they quite honestly get a lower bandwidth cost per bit compared to some of the other access options. So as far as the numbers go, the U.S. fiber statistics show that 36.1% of U.S. buildings, U.S. commercial buildings that have 20 or more employees, so we're talking about real buildings here, have access to fiber, leaving the remaining 63.9% in the fiber gap. So in short, almost 64% of U.S. buildings don't have any access to direct fiber. In comparison, we are doing pretty well. So a lot of the fiber providers that you're seeing here at this conference have done a great job of getting fiber into these buildings because this fiber gap was about 80% in 2004. So we have come a long way in filling that fiber gap, some steady progress. Another point I'd like to make is that building size does matter. If you're in a tall, shiny building in the middle of Manhattan, the chances are you have fiber access and you have it from many different providers, a lot of choice there. If you're in a smaller building outside in a less of a metro area, an SMB, a Soho type of situation, the chances of having fiber decrease significantly.
So your stats show an unprecedented global carrier Ethernet surge. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There's so many ways to quantify, characterize the way Ethernet has taken the networking market by storm. And one great way that I think is universal is bandwidth, meaning that from an enterprise customer looking into the cloud, you have an access connection, and what bandwidth is traveling over that access connection. And for years and years, 20 plus years since we've been doing dedicated access technology, we've had legacy data services like frame, like ATM, like private lines, like DSL, all those type of technologies that we all know have provided this access. Since Ethernet came on board, we have seen, as you just said, an unprecedented explosion of the bandwidth. And we saw the crossover of Ethernet bandwidth worldwide to all legacy bandwidth happen just this past year in 2012. That means Ethernet services, which are a relatively newcomer to this market, and all of the bandwidth that's provided by Ethernet services surpassed everything else that's out there and available for wireline access. This is a pretty significant achievement. A related statistic is that was worldwide. We saw the same thing happen within the U.S. just a little bit earlier in 2011. So as of now, you're seeing the bandwidth curve for Ethernet services explode, while the legacy data services is flattening, if not in a decline. And customers are purchasing these Ethernet services for big bandwidth applications. They're using it for business Ethernet, just connecting their enterprise services or their enterprise locations. They're using it for data center backup. They're using it for HD video, cloud computing, mobile backhaul, you name it. Ethernet is the preferred networking technology for these high bandwidth applications, and fiber is the media of choice to carry the Ethernet technology.
Excellent. So I would imagine that having a fiber-rich building would make it that much more exciting for commercial real estate transactions. How is this affecting the U.S. real estate market?
That's a really interesting question, because we're seeing that access is critical, of course. And any way that the real estate market, the real estate building managers can provide access via fiber is being viewed as a competitive differentiator from other buildings. And the role of Ethernet in this access is significant. So if you to keep up with the rising demands, the building managers are under pressure, of course, to provide competitive access networking services. And the service providers are now competing with each other to get into those buildings, because their fiber footprint is another competitive differentiator, and it's a growth challenge to their business overall. So they make a choice as to how they're going to get into these buildings, because that's where the market is. They can buy, they can build, they can partner. So we have construction, we have acquisitions in the service provider market significantly, especially with these fiber-based providers. And we also see the wholesale agreements where the networking providers partner with each other to have bilateral agreements between their buildings.
This is all very interesting. Where can our viewers go if they want to learn more about your research?
Well, they, of course, can go to our website, which is verticalsystems.com. We have lots of information on our syndicated research services, which are available in numerous topics. There's hundreds and hundreds of pages of data on Ethernet, on fiber penetration, on VPN services, layer 2, layer 3, migration from legacy to emerging services. Lots of very interesting statistics and trend analysis. We also perform lots of go-to-market support for our clients who are looking to enter into this business or expand in the Ethernet markets, and we help with lots of support in that area.
Exciting stuff. Verticalsystems.com, definitely a resource. If you haven't checked it out yet, I would highly recommend it. And thank you, Erin. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to JSA TV.